welcome to Stitch Crazy. My name is Bee Odie and I'm your host today. We are going to be making a dog bed out of blue jeans. Okay, so the supplies that you're going to need for this program is your sewing machine, a cutting board, and you can have different sizes. This one's just my travel one. A rotary cutter, some blue jeans, of course, assortment of them, thread for your machine, a scissors, and then you will also need an acrylic ruler for cutting and using your rotary cutter. Okay, so today we're going to make dog beds. Here is an example of a smaller one that I have made, and this one has a zipper on the back to open it up to take the stuff out, and I'll show you that later. And this size is 15 by 22, or you could make this bigger size, which is 21 by 27. And this one is made out of squares and the other one is made out of strips. Okay, so you can make this dog bed any size that you want to fit your dog. If you have a smaller dog or a medium-sized dog or bigger dog, you can make it whatever size you want. Sometimes people make these for the Humane Society and give them to kennels that need extra padding for their dogs in their kennels, and you can make the bigger size. The 21 by 27 is what they prefer. So if you have some blue jeans, you want to make the bed and donate them, you can certainly do that. Okay, so first of all, we're going to need a lot of assortment of jeans. Okay, and then what we're going to do on the jeans, I'm going to take my supplies out of the way here. I got my cutting board, and first of all, we're going to have to cut our jeans apart. And here, this one has like a ridge on the bottom. So I'm going to just take my scissors and I'm going to cut that ridge off, because we really don't need that. And if you've never cut the jeans apart, that's kind of what I'm showing you, how we cut our jeans apart to get all of our strips to cut our strips and squares that we're going to need for our project. Then I would take my jeans and then just go down the seam line and cut them until you have your jeans apart. Okay, then you're going to have strips, which I'm going to show you. And it's nice to have darker ones and lighter ones, and that's what it will give you, the light dark effect. Okay, so I'm going to set that there, and now I have my strip cut out from a different pair of jeans. Same effect. So I've got the seams all cut out, the pockets, everything gone. And so then I am going to cut these into different size strips. So first of all, I'm going to take my ruler and I am going to make my edge straight. So I have a straight. So I'm going to take my rotary cutter and just lay my acrylic ruler down and just cut this little piece off. And so now I have a straight edge on my blue jeans to start cutting. All right, on the bigger one, these squares are about 8 by 8 or 8.5 by 8.5, excuse me. These strips are different sizes. If you want to do strips, you'll see I have a smaller size, a bigger size, a bigger size. So you can just play with your blue jeans as far as cutting it out. You want to make sure that when you decide how big you want your project, that we make our strip row that length so that we can make our project. So here I'm going to cut this one, and on my cutting board I have lines that say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can lay this up against like 1 inch, and then if I want to cut this 6 inches, then I would place my ruler on the 7-inch line, take my rotary cutter and cut it out. Okay, now had I want this only 4 inches, then I would take and put my, I've got it on 5, so then if I want it 4, I'll have to find my mark that says 9 for 4 inches, and then just cut your strip. So these can be all different sizes. And then when I have these cut, then what I do is I like to just take my edges off to make them straight. But I do that after. I cut a whole bunch of strips, and then I just straighten them out after the fact. So then here I'll cut this. And then I'm gonna make sure that this edge, I'm just gonna line my, like this says 11 inches. So I'm just gonna line that up against the edge so that I'm cutting a straight edge on it. So then here I cut a straight edge. It doesn't matter on different widths because you're gonna be sewing these widths together. So then you'll have a longer strip, a shorter strip, a longer strip, a shorter strip.
Protect your investment with Smart Farm monitoring from Valley Telecommunications. Get video surveillance cameras for your home, shop, or barn. Sign up now and receive 5% off of Clear to There cameras and 1 month free of off-site storage.
Valley Telecommunications, the home team advantage.
I'm going to show you an example here. This has got 3 pieces put together. I got a longer piece in the middle and a shorter and a shorter. And then what I do is I take these 2 pieces. These are not the same. I take these 2 pieces that are the same width and I lay them together, and then I sew my seam. So then once you've got your seam sewed, then you have a piece like this with a light and a dark. So then I take it over to my sewing machine and I sew on each side of that seam to lay this flat. Now, if you want, you can do a zigzag stitch and get them both in the same time if you choose to. So then we will keep making a row. This one is a longer row. I'll show you where I have taken multiple pieces and made a long row. So this is where you decide if you want a 21 by 27, then you make this piece 21 by 27, cut it off, and then your next row, and you can have like a narrower piece onto this row. I just try to alternate my seams so that when you're sewing them, they don't get so thick. Okay, so then you just keep making these until you get the size of the whole piece that you want. So I'm going to take and show you. I've done this ahead of time. And I guess I can take this over to the machine and sew it so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to take, these are squares. So I'm going to take this light square and put it up against the medium. And this is where I would take it to my sewing machine and sew these 2 pieces together.
Valley Telecommunications, the home team advantage.
So then I'm going to sew this seam. Sew these 2 blocks together. Okay, now I'm going to take these 2 pieces, and what I usually do is I usually take my seam and kind of, you can take like a wooden piece and press it down. You can take it over to your iron and press it down if you want, but I just kind of finger press it, it's called. And then I take it back to my machine and I stitch like 1/4 inch on each side just so I catch the back here, and that's just to make it stronger. Okay, so I'm gonna stitch this all along that line. And then I'm going to turn my piece around and I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to stitch along about 1/4 of an inch from the seam. And this just secures your seams down. Okay, so now what I've done is I've taken these two pieces, sewed them together, pressed my seams down and sewn them. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but I use white thread, and it just adds a little decoration to it, that's all. Okay, so when you've got your rows all sewn together, then you decide the width and the length that you want to do. Once we get to that point, we're going to have a piece like this. And this is two right sides together. Okay? Now, on this one here, the smaller one, I just took one long piece and folded it in half and sewed. Now this one here, I sewed this way, and I sewed across here, and I sewed here. And then, so that'll make one whole piece with the opening on the side. Okay. Now if you want, we could either, when we're making this pillow, like I said, this is blocks and mine is strips, and you can fill this with scraps of material. That's what I did with this one. When you're sewing and you have the scraps, so you don't have to throw them away, you can just fill your bag full of scraps. The other pillow has 2 old pillows I was going to throw away, so I just decided to put them in a pillow so then it would make it softer for the dog to lay on. Or you can buy fiber fill, and you can fill this with fiber fill. So there's multiple ways you can do it. With the scraps, you may want to put them in a pillowcase, sew the pillowcase together, and then put it into the pillow, so if you ever have to wash it, you can just pull the pillow out, and then you wouldn't have the scraps. Otherwise, you'd have to take all the scraps out. Okay, so now once we have our seams sewn, you can flip this inside out. And then when you flip it inside out, you want to make sure that you get your corners. So just take your finger and press the corners in. And you can take that just to help push that corner out more square. Now these are dog beds, so it's not really all that fussy, but if you want it. And then you just go to this other one. Because these get kind of thick, so sometimes if it gets too thick, you might have to pull it back in, kind of snip the corners, and then bring them back out again. Because with blue jeans, they get pretty thick on the corners. Okay. So now I have my piece getting closer to being finished. On this one, it was zigzagged on the seams. So then you only have to do it once, where when I do the lines, I have to do it twice. So now I would fill it with either pillows or fiber fill. And then I would take my end here and I would fold these over. And I've got this other one pinned. So I'll just take this. And so what I did here, now when this gets really dirty, you could probably throw it in the washer and the dryer, but it would get pretty thick. Where it would be nice to have a zipper here, and then you can open it up, take it out. And sometimes when you're tearing these jeans apart, you can get a fairly good size zipper out of the jean that you could just reuse here. But you have to remember that you want to put the zipper in before you sew all your sides together, because then you can leave it open and then you can flip your work inside out. So, and then we take this to our machine, and then we can just sew it together. Now this could take a little work because the machines, they're a little thicker. At the very end. They do have these little tools that you can put under, and I didn't bring that today, but you can put it underneath your presser foot to make it even when it's thick like this. And it's only a little piece, and they only cost like about $5. It's worth it, but I forgot to bring that today. And then once you get started, it would be a lot easier to get your seam sewn. And you just sew that until you're at the very end. And then you have a finished bed. You can use other kinds of fabric. If you have like a light twill, you can use multiple colors. It doesn't necessarily have to be jeans. So if you have any extra twill pairs of pants laying around, you can use that for these too. And so that's kind of the instructions on how to make a dog bed.
Sign up for HD or DVR from Valley this month and receive 2 months free and free installation. Call us today at 437-2615. You don't want to miss out on this offer.
Okay, I have brought a show and tell piece. This is a piece that I've made in the past. And what I did here is I took blue jean squares, and then I took some Navajo material that was striped. It had 2 different stripes, so I cut the stripes out, and I made rows with that. So I made these rows going across here, and then I used the brown for my sashing pieces and my backing piece. So I just thought I would show you what I've made with another way of making a blue jean quilt out of scraps of fabric with Navajo material and just adding brown fabric. So this is my show and tell for today. I hope you have enjoyed our show today. If you have any ideas or if you'd like to be a host of our show, you can call us at 437-2615. Thank you for watching.